Hey photographers, do you feel that your camera isn't performing as well as it did when it was new? Well, is it just a little slower? Are your images not quite as clear? Does your battery not last as long? Well, there's a simple explanation, and I have some tips to restore its original performance. Now, the pandemic has meant fewer new camera releases, higher prices, fewer cameras in stock, and longer wait times for any model at your local dealer. As a result, many of you, many of us, are using our cameras for a lot longer than we might have expected, and we've been using them more, as we have the time to get out, practice our craft, and consider our career options. That situation has made us more aware of a problem that's been lurking in cameras for some time. So, if you're observing a slow deterioration, your aging camera like this Fujifilm X-T2 or this Sony a6300 is probably suffering from LOF, L-O-F, landscape orientation fatigue. And when you hold your camera like this, it's in landscape orientation, and even when you set it down, it's in the same position. And that's all LOF needs to get started. Landscape orientation fatigue is one of many phenomena that affect not only cameras. Scientists who observe this effect in nature call it cold flow. According to Wikipedia, it's also called creep, and it's the tendency of solids to deform under the influence of stress. And that's what landscape orientation fatigue is doing to your camera. I think the term LOF was coined to avoid words like creep, deterioration, and deformation. Whatever. LOF is not funny. And to see the effects of LOF in action, look at an hourglass. The sand slowly settles to the bottom. And although there's no sand in your camera, much the same kind of thing is happening, even if much more slowly, and to different camera components at different rates of cold flow. Many blame Isaac Newton, who discovered gravity, but that's not fair. Newton did not invent gravity. While Wikipedia doesn't say who did, gravity has a long-term insidious effect on everything on the planet. And many of gravity's effects are obvious: falling apples and waterfalls. But even the most durable of solids, including stone, can and do flow. We can see the flow of lava from a volcano. Even when the effect is slow and barely perceptible, it's still happening. Thanks to gravity, cold flow, and entropy, all objects eventually collapse. So some will blame camera companies, who design cameras to always be set down on this flat surface. They seem to be intentionally designed for a single storage orientation. When you think about that, you'll realize that your camera is nearly always in landscape orientation, so that gravity is always pulling its insides in the same direction, down, both literally and figuratively. And the first place you'll likely observe LOF is in battery life. And to see what I mean, just take the battery out of your camera and look at the connection terminals. They are at the top. Whoa! Thanks to cold flow gravity, LOF is pulling the electrons to the bottom. And as they age, it becomes more and more difficult for them to travel up the battery and into the camera. It makes you wonder why cameras are not designed so batteries are positioned with the terminals at the bottom. It's a collusion of designed-in obsolescence. And LOF also works on the sensor. If you've noticed that many of your images are lighter at the top and darker near the bottom, you're seeing the effects of landscape orientation fatigue. The pixels that detect dark are naturally heavier and flow to the bottom of the sensor, leaving only the lighter pixels near the top of the frame. I am not making this up. Pixel settling also causes banding, as different colored pixels have different weights. They settle in layers, like a B-52, with its layers of coffee, cream, and Grand Marnier. Now, although Fujifilm has attempted to reduce the effect by using the X-Trans sensor, in Bayer sensors, it's a clear and obvious design flaw. So, for the same reason that we rotate the tires on our cars, sensors should be rotated as well as cleaned. Well, okay, enough doom and gloom. Here's what you can do to reverse LOF. First, always store your camera on its back. When the camera's on its back, the battery, the sensor, other sensitive components feel the effects of gravity more evenly. If the landscape orientation fatigue in your camera has become serious, you may wish to position your camera totally upside down for a time. But whatever you do, don't be tempted to shake your camera like an Etch-a-Sketch. That just scrambles everything, causing shaken camera syndrome. It's worth noting that cold flow works a little more quickly when it's warm, for instance, when the camera is on. And as a result, some advocate inversion therapy. When the camera is inverted while you're creating photographs, the effects may reverse more quickly, and your battery life will be extended as the electrons can flow more easily. Admittedly, shooting upside down can be a challenge. Again, as cameras are deliberately designed to always be in landscape orientation to speed up LOF and encourage you to purchase a new camera. However, beware not to overdo inversion therapy, as it eventually will darken the skies in your images. But then again, as always, don't let technical details override your creativity. Now, to improve your skills and reduce the effects of LOF, create until your memory cards are full and your batteries are empty. And if you have your own solutions for dealing with LOF, please share them in the comments. I do read and reply to all civil comments and relevant questions. And I'd like to recognize the support of members of this channel. Thanks to them, there are no ads or sponsorships in this or any of my videos. And the Join button will let you join this exclusive club. But you could also subscribe for free access to all my videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.